Between the politicians and the screenwriters.
Our very big early hit was political.
I was quite enamoured by how good looking some of this.
And quite established, quite politics with a P.
But what people had really revelled in was seeing politicians squirm.
Absolutely.
And it has to take you into places that are normally closed to the average punter.
Well, firstly, how did you find the session?
Really enjoyable. It's always that kind of thing where I think I don't know whether I have an opinion about anything, and then suddenly questions start coming and people start talking to you, and suddenly you realise you have loads of opinions. And actually, theatre and politics in particular, and young writers and young audiences for political theatre is something I'm quite fiery about and passionate about. So actually to get a room full of people to talk to about it is quite cool, and yeah, quite enjoyed it.
You're quite a prodigious writer and a young writer. Some people might find it surprising that you have such a political leaning in the work. Particularly, I mean, the Thatcher play seemed to have come out of nowhere. Surprised a lot of people.
I can't really think of a reason why necessarily. I just find it so rich. Like certainly, obviously, history in terms of events, characters, themes, issues. I just find it so useful, especially as a way of commenting on what's happening now. So during the Iraq War, I thought instead of writing about a play set in Baghdad, I would do a Suez Canal crisis play. And last year, I did a play about the Winter of Discontent to talk about the economic situation now. So I find it useful as a politicised writer to go back to history and use those events as a way of commenting with some distance and with some perspective, I suppose.
Going back to the play about Thatcher being a little girl, you're coming from an angle which I dare say nobody would have thought of really. It's also about relationships, that play.
Yeah.
Do you find politics a good vehicle for laying out relationships between people?
Absolutely.
Or is it no different to any, say, using another platform perhaps?
I think it probably is different. I think it's probably better. I think politics is just people, and it's certainly relationships, it's certainly rivalries and friendships and loyalties. And so I think it's so rich in relationships that actually that's the easy part. And yeah, the Margaret Thatcher play, the essential relationship, I suppose, was between Margaret Thatcher, the girl, and her father, her refusing to apologise to her dad for doing something she didn't think was wrong, which in a way, I suppose, represented her relationship with the electorate for most of her career. I think the reason I came at it from the angle of a slightly scary, strange one was because I'm just aware, I think I was aware when I started writing political theatre that you walk into a British tradition of quite grand, quite established, quite politics with a P plays, and I didn't want to do just a conventional biopic, especially because I'm quite young and I want an audience to come to my plays that are also quite young. I don't think they would necessarily come if it was quite conventional and conservative with a Smorsy. So I thought of just trying to make it as theatrical as possible, as interesting as possible, with fun characters, with jokes, with entertainment, with all those things that I think some people might think are superficial, but I think are absolutely key in getting people, especially a young audience, interested and emotionally engaged with politics. And I think that was a way of doing that, a relationship between the father and a daughter, essentially.